Okay, so this video is for those of you who came to my shoulder mobility workshop. Guys, I really appreciate it, and I'm looking forward to hopefully putting on more for you. But in this video, we're gonna go over the 4 exercises that we did, that we completed during that workshop, and that way you don't have to go home and I don't know what the exercises are. This way you can look back at the video and you'll know exactly what to do when you're home. And again, guys, as I said before, whether you work with me or not, if you do these exercises, if you just give 10 minutes a day, like 2 minutes per exercise, 2-ish minutes, 10 minutes a day for a week to 2 weeks, you're going to see some dramatic improvements in your mobility and your ability to get into these shoulder positions, such as the hang position from a pull-up, or a strict press, or a push press, or some kind of an exercise like that. If you do these diligently, you're going to see some improvements. So really excited to show you these exercises. First one we're going to do, lacrosse ball. So all you're gonna need is a lacrosse ball, and we're gonna lay on our stomach here. And I want you guys to think about mobilizing in the position of restriction, right? So I could go like this against the wall and kind of hit my triceps into it and get a good mobilization that way and smash the heck out of it. But it's not very specific to overhead function, right? So we focus on overhead function for this one. So I want you to remember, hey, if I'm having an issue with this overhead function, or if it's with a bench press, getting back here, my shoulder dips, right? That's where you want to have that mobilization. So in this case, hey, we're going overhead. Let's mobilize in this position. So what we're going to do is grab our lacrosse ball. We're going to lay down and just basically smash the triceps. So we're laying on our stomach. We're coming here, and I just want you to move side to side and trying to find any tender spots in this area. And for me, it's not so much towards the elbow. For you, it might be. Mine's a little bit higher up, and oh yeah, that's the spot right there. And if it's really tender, what you can do is just lay on it. So just sit here and then just try and get that tension off. If you're like, oh, I can't handle it at all, spend 30 seconds doing that, and then you can start to add in, hey, let's move side to side and start to break this up. So I would say a minute of just moving side to side, and then you can add in the bicep curls and the elbow bending and straightening. So we're gonna be here for that second minute. I want you to just put that pressure on it. Make the pain face. If it's not killing you, straighten all the way out and bend back. And this way what we're doing is we are pinning down the triceps muscle belly, and you can kind of vary the angle a little bit, pinning down that muscle belly as we are bending and straightening. So this is a great way to improve the sliding surfaces, right? Our muscles, our tendons, our fascia, which all it is connective tissue. So just a great way to improve our triceps mobility in order to improve our overhead mobility. Right? If our triceps is tight, it's gonna want to pull our shoulder down and not want to give us that full mobility, which we need when we are performing press type activities or the starting position of a pull-up. Okay, the second one we're gonna do, and, and many of you realize that this one was very intense, is the Latissimus Dorsi release. And again, lacrosse ball, all we're gonna need. So at your gym, whether it's Soldier Fit, F45, somewhere else, just a great tool that we can use to improve our sliding surfaces. So what we're gonna do, again, we're gonna lay on the ground, and this time on our side. So I'm gonna lay down just like this and roll over a little bit more onto your back, and I want you to find your pec, find the pec major muscle here. Just keep going down, 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 past the ribs, and then find that muscle belly of the lat, the Latissimus dorsi, and just give it a squeeze and just see how it feels. If it feels like, oh, it doesn't feel very good, that this is going to be a sign that this one might not be too pleasant for you. But this also lets you know, hey, this is where the bulk of my muscle belly is, and I want you to find an area that has a good amount of muscle belly, because it's just a great way to start. There's no perfect way, but hey, find that muscle belly, and we'll start there. So bam, I'm gonna move over a little bit because the barbell's in the way, but we're gonna be here. Place that ball right on that muscle belly you were just squeezing, and remember, palm up, position of restriction, which is overhead function, and then move inside to side. And I have a ropey part where when I roll over it, A, it's tender, B, it's like clunk, and it's tough and knotted down. That's another sign too, hey, we should spend some time here. If you notice, again, if you're like, oh my gosh, I can't handle this, you can push yourself off, right? You can decrease some of that. So right now I'm just putting all my weight into it. You can decrease some of that weight. Also, just spend some time, 30 seconds just hanging out on it. It's going to decrease that neural tension eventually, and you should be able to get into rolling side to side. If not, You can whip out your pool toy, which is your roller, not making fun of rollers, but we want to progress from the roller to the lacrosse ball as fast as we can. So you can start with a roller and roll up and down like this and side to side on it, but getting to the lacrosse ball is going to be the way to go. So just a fantastic exercise that we can do. Again, 2 minutes to improve, in this case, the sliding surface of the lat. And the third one we're going to do, which is probably one of my favorites, is using the lacrosse ball. If you have a double lacrosse ball, it's called a peanut. Another great way to use another more efficient way to mobilize the thoracic spine, the ribs, and these trap muscles. But we're going to use this to mobilize, as I just said, the trapezius muscle, the ribs, and the thoracic spine. And the reason why we want to get this thoracic spine complex is if I've been sitting in our typical American posture here or positioning of just sitting at a computer all day and looking at a monitor, and in this position of this feels much more tension up than this does, here there's hinge points and I can't get my shoulder overhead, versus here I'm much more able to, right? I'm not hyperextending, but this is just my neutral position, versus here I can't get it over my head. So if you were to try and do an overhead squat with your arms over your head with a barbell, it would not, if you're here, it's not going to go very well. If I tried to overhead squat with the 45-pound barbell here and I'm in this position, it's not going to go very well. So very important to make sure our thoracic spine, our ribs, and our scapula, and in this case the trapezius muscles pulling on the scapula, are working the right way and not getting dragged along or put in an inopportune position where this is going to happen. Does that make sense? So what we're going to do is we're going to lay on our back, come back this way. We're going to place the ball between our backbone and our scapula. So we're going to be right here, and then we're going to roll right on top of it. Oh, I already found a spot. Let me move back a little bit. I already found a spot that's super tender. I'm going to come back here and roll right on top of it. And in my case, I'm just going to stand. I'm going to hang out here for a little bit. This is super tender. What you can do to support your head, you can actually put a pillow here if you want, but support your head this way. In this case, it pulls your shoulder blades forward so you can get a lot more of that, the ribs and the trap. Super tender on me. And what you can do, you can just kind of play around. You can glute bridge off the ground if you can, if you can handle that. If you can't, no problem. But you can kind of scoot up and down, just trying to find or work that area out. And when you find a spot that's most tender, start by your side, coming all the way up and back down. All the way up. If you can't get all the way like me, I get stuck right here and back down. Make sure we're not hyperextending the back so you don't let this happen. Keep your core tight. If you can, squeeze your glutes. You can squeeze, if you straighten your legs out, you can squeeze your glutes a little bit more, but you're down here, and then, oh my gosh, I get right about here, I stop and come back. Just a great way to mobilize not only the middle trap, but also the thoracic spine and the ribs. You can vary this. We can come a little bit lower down, or I can bring that ball up to hit more of the upper trapezius if I wanted to. Or I can say, hey, let me get a little bit lower down, and guess what? You hit the low trap, right? The all-important low trap that many people have issues with. So this one, very, very variable, and just focus too on, hey, elbow pit towards the ground, right? This is why my thumb, I want my thumb going, I don't want it this way, right? I want my thumb pointing towards the ground as we're coming down. So just a fantastic one that we can do to not only hitting some more muscles in the middle trapezius, or the whole trapezius complex, but also getting the ribs, getting the thoracic spine, and starting to actually mobilize those joints that could become so restrictive in in many of the jobs that we find ourselves in today. Okay, and number 4, I'm gonna have to move the camera a little bit, so let me do that quick. All the ring row is basically a TRX band. Right, this has the same exact function as a TRX band, just a little bit softer, or the TRX band is a little bit softer. So what we're going to do is we're going to come out this way, right? We're coming towards, and then don't let this happen, right? So my core's tight, my glutes are on. I'm coming out this way, letting that elbow, remember my elbow pit. If I was doing this, again, my elbow pit's backwards. It's not here. We're back. The elbow is facing. It's not kicked out to the side. It's close to my head. We're here. Bam. Get a nice stretch in. Don't let that happen again. And then once we're here, lock that out, then side bend the head, and you're going to get a really good stretch in this upper trap in the side of the neck here. And then you can come off and try and vary it a little bit. You can flex, you can look down, you can try and look up with it, but trying to get a good stretch in there. Another option we have if you don't want to use the ring or the TRX band, by all means, grab your band here, or grab your, this is the purple band. I think at most gyms they have a good set of these pull-up or monster bands or pull-up assistance bands. Use whatever weight. I would recommend getting a strong one, because not only will I be able to create tension, but it's actually going to want to pull me back, which I like a lot. So again, we're here, bam, we're coming forward, and the goal is, yes, we're here, and then side bend away. So we're getting in this position. This is a fault. This is a correct position. Bam, getting that good side bend in. Let me try the other side quick. See how this side feels. My left side's a little bit tighter. But again, don't hyperextend. Keep your core tight and your glutes on. All right, guys. I hope you enjoyed the video. So these are all 4 exercises. And again, 10 minutes a day, guys. If you just spend 10 minutes a day, you're going to see a whole host of improvements in your mobility. And if anybody was interested in working with me afterwards, again, that is half off. I mean, an initial evaluation is good for a week from the workshop. So the workshop was on Saturday, so it's good for a week from Saturday. So if you're interested in finally taking care of pain, finally finding the root cause of it, and then taking care of it for good, and being able to take care of it on your own, if that sounds cool to you, I'd love to work with you. You can, I'll be sending emails. You can contact me on some of the emails. But what you can also do, if you'd love to hop on a phone consultation, if you're like, man, I just don't know if I'm a good fit for you, totally fine. I hop on free consultations all the time in patients. There should be a phone number in the email that I sent you, so please give me a text, give me a call. I'd love to hop on a call with you and figure out what's going on. But guys, thanks again, and I hope to put on more workshops for you, and I'll see you next time.